14, People magazine, half their size. Debbie Lazinsky has lost 185 pounds, which is ridiculous. And she is the author of No Time to Lose, How I Lost 185 Pounds and Saved My Life. Debbie, please join me here on the red carpet. Here she is. Isn't she gorgeous? Hey, Debbie, how are you?
I'm great, Angela. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Well, first of all, I know everyone's going to want to hear about what it's like to be in People magazine, which is amazing. But let's start off by talking about No Time to Lose. What's the book about? Why did you write it?
I wrote this book because I knew at 60 pounds into my weight loss journey that I had to share what I learned with women everywhere. And I had been a victim of all the diet wars and tried everything to lose that 185 pounds that I carried for 20 years. And once I figured out what worked for me, I wanted to shout it from the mountains because it's not as difficult as so many people want you to think. If you can just learn what works for you and put those to practice every day, one step at a time.
Yeah. So one of my favorite stories from your People magazine experience is that people asked you for a before picture. Yeah. And can you tell a little bit about your before picture, which I think people can see? Can they see it on your website?
If they're on my website, they're in the magazine.
What's your website?
My website is debbielazinsky.com.
Fantastic. Okay, so tell us this story.
So People magazine reached out to me. First of all, I didn't know it was People. I had heard that there was a magazine that was interested in speaking to me about my weight loss. And they contacted me because I'm also a trainer, a personal trainer. And they were looking for people who had lost a significant amount of weight. And so I raised my hand and I said, well, I did. And they said, okay, send some pictures, before pictures. And it was like, oh, there are no before pictures. When you're 320 pounds, you don't want to see pictures. So I basically tore them up as soon as I saw them. And that was my way of denying the situation that I was in, because if I couldn't see it, it didn't exist. And so I had to send out a notice to the family and friends and say, was there a party, a bar mitzvah or a wedding that I attended that you have pictures? And that's when they started coming in, and I got pictures from everywhere, from people that had kept them tucked away. And
yeah, they weren't as painful for them to look at as they were for you.
Exactly. And when I saw them, I was astounded. I was just astounded.
What do you think is the biggest thing that people do wrong when it comes to weight loss, either in weight loss books that you've read or just people's own journeys?
I think people approach it with a good heart and good intentions, and I think that they just try to use it as a temporary measure. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm going to be on a diet, and when I lose the weight, then I'm going to be able to live my life or do certain things.
Then I'll be off the diet.
And that's just it. And
surprise!
My feeling is, why not start living that life now? Once we figure out what's healthy for you, I work with my clients to reverse engineer the life that they want to live. So let's figure out where you want to be, and let's start living that way now. And that means eating the food that's right for your body, but it also means not denying yourself joy in every aspect of your life. So don't wait to do something until you lose weight. Don't wait to start living. You know, I was given a death sentence at 55 years old. My doctor said to me, you're not going to live to see your 60th birthday. And so I started counting the Christmases and the birthdays that I had left. Who wants to live like that? I decided I want to start living today, and that's what I want people to know. You can live today, live your life, and just get a little bit healthier each day.
I love that. And I love your title, too, No Time to Lose. Can you talk about what that title means to you?
That's something that I hear over and over from my clients that come in and don't know what to expect. You know, they find me and they think I'm going to put them on a diet right away. And I do a little intake, and I want to get to know my clients. And they'll all tell me, well, I don't have time to cook, and I don't have time to exercise, and I don't have time, and I don't have time, I don't have time. And I hear that over and over again. But my feeling is we all have 24 hours in a day. We all have to make decisions about what we're going to eat. You have the time. You just don't know that you do.
Right.
And that's what I want to help people understand. You do have the time to take care of yourself.
I love that. If you have questions for Debbie, you can type them in. I'm going to run over here and get my phone because I wanted to have it with me, but I put it down. So Debbie, I know we're going to get some questions for you, and I will share them with you as they come in. But I want to talk a little bit about the process of writing your book. So have you ever thought about writing a book before we worked together?
When I was 6 years old, I wrote a book. It was a little story. I don't even remember what the story was, but I've been a bookworm and a book nerd my whole life. I love books. I'm surrounded by books. But did I think I could ever actually do it? No. I wanted to do it, and I might have said this to someone. The book that I wrote was bubbling up inside of me all through my weight loss process because I knew I had so many things to share with people. So I kept making notes, and I kept lots of journals. And when it came time to write the book, when I finally found someone like you that I could work with and trusted, I thought I'd go back to my notes. And you made it so easy that it just tumbled right out of me. And you and your support team have just turned this process into a joy for me. And to think that I wrote this book in less than 60 days is phenomenal. And I don't want people to think that, well, it can't be that good if it's only 60 days, because it's a lifetime worth of work.
Yeah, that's what I always say. I'm like, yeah, 60 days, 60 to 90 days, and also about 40 years for most of our authors.
Right. But in the past, when I thought I was going to write a book, I'd sit down and say, okay, today's the day you're going to write a book. Well, what does a book start with? It starts with a cover. And so that I would try to design a cover. And then I got nowhere. And then, well, what's next? The table of contents. Let's write that. And I got nowhere. And then finally you made it all so clear for me.
So talk about for you, what was the easiest part of this process, and then what was the hardest part?
The easiest part was just, I think, following direction. You know, taking the advice that I was given from experts, trusting those experts, and doing exactly what I was asked to do on the deadline schedule. That was easy for me because I'm trained in that. That was my business before. And so I'm used to working on deadline and doing those kinds of things.
You're like a journalism background.
I have marketing and advertising, so everything was deadline. So that was easy for me. That was my training, you know. So putting my executive brain to work and repurposing it and focusing on me is, quite frankly, how I lost the weight, but it's also how I approach the book. This is a big project with lots of to-dos, but there's no drama. It's just what I know, and I'm just going to get it out. And I think the most difficult part was trying to maintain balance in the rest. I'm so focused on getting the book done that I didn't care if it was raining or the next morning or night or what else I had to do. I'm wondering what I've neglected. But fortunately, I have an awesome husband at home that props me up and keeps me going. And I'm just looking forward to writing the next one.
Did you have any? So we started working together on August 19th. Did you have any doubts that you would end up here on the red carpet finish book?
Absolutely not. I had no doubts. Not because my abilities, but because I believe so much in you.
It's just because I didn't know. You're like, she must be on something.
No doubt. I'm like, he's done this people before, and I can do this with her too.
All right, well, we've got some SMS here. I want to get out and really say thank you to Amber and Ann and David and Ginny and Yola and I think another Ann. Thank you guys all. Nice to see you out there. Share this so other people join our Facebook Live. Mara says it's so cool to hear that the process helps pull the writing out that you already have. Do you feel like that was the case for you, that it pulled the writing out of you?
Exactly the words I use with people all the time. It was in my head. It was rolling around. It was like a jumble of yarn that was all tangled up. But Grace, my editor, was awesome. And I just put everything down in a document, and then we kind of sorted it out, and she really did pull it out of me. It was amazing.
Yes, we are big fans of the crappy first draft process. We want to get the book out of you first because it's so much easier to play with and get it organized when it's all out on paper. Elia, who is actually one of our authors, unless there's another Elia out there, wants to know if you work with men. She says that her husband wants to lose weight and wishes there were more examples for men.
Yes, I do work with men. And women, obviously, because of my own personal experience, are my primary target. But yes, I work with many men. I've had a lot of great success with men, and I love working with men.
Is it easier for men?
In some ways, yes, and in some ways, no. You know, they have a different metabolism. I know, and all they have to do is give up, beer,
and then
right?
That's it.
Bagels and beer, and they lose the, But for some men, they really struggle with emotional eating, like women do, but it is a little bit different for men.
What's your greatest hope for what comes out of this book, for your readers and also for yourself?
I wrote this with a very specific reader in mind. actually a few, and I really hope that they see this as an opportunity to just grab onto some hope for themselves. Because I know, and I'm sure many people know, what it feels like to go to bed praying that you wake up thin in the morning. And it doesn't work. Mm-hmm. But there is an answer. There really is an answer. And if you give yourself the opportunity to learn a few things and stick with it and not give up on yourself, you can get there too, one day at a time.
The thing that I, in reading your book, went through is your book it's not easy. Mm-hmm. It's simple, but it's not easy. But then I think about being overweight and think about being in a conversation with your doctor when they tell you that you have 5 years left to live.
Right.
And that's not easy either.
That's not easy either, yeah. And, anything that's really worth doing and having is not easy. And so many times we give up on ourselves and think that we can't do it. But if you do keep putting one foot in front of the other, it gets easier, and then it becomes a habit. And what's so fascinating to me is how I was a victim of habit when I was overeating. I'm also a victim of habit now, but those habits happen to be, I love to get on my treadmill. I love to create healthy meals and teach my clients how they can
that's
cook.
another thing about your story. You're like a gourmet chef, and you didn't stop cooking.
Oh no, I wasn't going to live on rice cakes and carrot sticks, and no way. I have great food every day, and I make sure my clients do too. Life's too short to eat crappy food.
Yeah, love it. So there were a few ways we could have gone with your book. I remember talking about them here at the Author Castle just a couple months ago. And even though weight loss might seem really straightforward, there was a memoir about your weight loss. There was a how-to weight loss book. There was the possibility of telling the People magazine story, because that alone is a fascinating story. Mara says, I have so many ideas that I just can't fit together. How did that happen through your process?
In terms of writing the book?
Yeah, so the different ideas, how did they come together?
I really have to credit you and your staff for helping me sort that out, because I think there are a few other books swirling around in there. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to come out with the story that would give the most hope. And we can talk about the details in future books and later, but if nothing else, I just want people who pick this book up to know that there is hope for them, and there's lots of people like me out there, waiting to help them, and it's available, and it's just a gift, actually, that I want to share.
Yeah. One of the things that we do is we actually look, I always say we can smell it. We look in your manuscript for other books that are snuck in there, and we try and make sure you're writing one book instead of 3 or 4, which is a mistake that a lot of authors make. Debbie Lesinski is the author of No Time to Lose. You can find the link for that. If you're registered for this event, we will email you the link. You can also just go to Amazon and search for No Time to Lose. Debbie, you had a free gift that you wanted to offer to our attendees and your early readers. Can you tell us about that and where people can get it?
Sure. Throughout the book, I talk about different formulas and little tools that you can use, and what I did was consolidate them all into one big toolkit. So anybody that visits my website or reads the book can just put their email address in there, and in a day or so you'll get my toolkit, and it'll get you started on the path toward finding your health.
Okay, I have to tell you my favorite thing in the toolkit so you guys all know what to get. I hope it's still there. I hope it didn't get edited out. The comfort food.
Oh, yeah.
What is like bread? It's some sort of bread that looks
delicious.
That
recipe?
Yes.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
What is it a recipe for?
Well, that's a family tradition. This is an Italian thing, that we eat at every holiday. It weighs about 30 pounds when it comes out of the oven. And it's just full of like the most fattening stuff on the planet. But we grew up eating it, that's just what we did. And so when I started analyzing my recipes, because I am a bit of a numbers geek, I put that recipe in there just for giggles to see what it would come out. I'm telling you, a piece maybe like a little bit bigger than a postage stamp had like 700 calories in it. I'm like, no, we can't do this. But I don't want to give up the tradition and the heritage and all that stuff that goes with food. So I, pared it down and I made some substitutions, and now when I make it, along with everything else, it tastes really good. And most people don't know that I changed it up. And but now it's healthy and you can eat
And
it
that
without
recipe
guilt.
is in there, right?
Well, yes. But you still have to eat a little piece because that's like way on the end of the spectrum of healthy foods.
Right, but you don't have to give up everything.
Never, never. I never say never.
Awesome. Debbie Lesinski, the author of No Time to Lose. Congratulations on your book.
Thank you.
Go and download it now for free. I usually say to people, share this with someone, but I don't want you to offend anyone. So if you share it with someone, just say, I met this amazing woman who was on People magazine. Were you on the cover?
I wasn't on the cover. They put the young ones on the cover.
Right, but she's like a
I'm in the centerfold.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. So just be like, oh, she was in People magazine. You should read this book. Then they won't feel so like you're shoving a diet book.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Thanks, Debbie.
Thank you.